Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to this episode of the Live, Train, Perform podcast. I'm your host, Sean Kober. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different because this is dropping on the 24th of May, and that is a significant date for myself and for the Live, Train, Perform podcast. That is 1 year of podcasting under the belt. So I launched my first episode last year on, I think it was Monday, the 24th of May, or maybe it was Sunday, 24th of May, or something like that. But anyway, that is 1 year under the belt. So what I'm going to be doing with the podcast moving forward is reducing my output to one episode per week, which will be coming out every Monday. And I'm going to continue some of the themes that I've been working on. However, if you guys listening really enjoy some of the specific themes, which I'm going to go through in a moment, then let me know and I'll try and tailor my content towards what you guys want. In saying that, I do want to give a shout out to everyone that has supported this journey. All of the listeners, it's been an amazing journey. I've had some really incredible feedback over the last year with a lot of the solo episodes, also a lot of the interviews that I've had, Coach's Corner, Client Corner, pretty much everything. I've had some incredible feedback. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been listening to the podcast, has been supporting me, and has picked something up along this journey. I really appreciate the support, and there's people listening from all over the world. Just looking at my stats before, I've got about 26 and a half, approaching 27,000 downloads. But then there's obviously all the streaming services and things like that don't get counted. I've got the top 10 countries that listen around the world: Australia, United Kingdom, United States, Thailand, Singapore, Ireland, Germany, Canada, Poland, and New Zealand. They're the top 10 countries around the world. And I've also got listeners in Rwanda, Colombia, Papua New Guinea, Tunisia, Peru, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Isle of Man, Venezuela, Algeria, and the list goes on. So I'm really grateful for everyone who has been listening over the last year and has provided messages, feedback, shown your support in whatever manner, whether that's leaving me a rating and review, whether that's sharing podcast episodes with your friends and family, whether that's sharing it on your stories, etc. I'm really fucking grateful for every single one of you guys that's listening. I didn't put this podcast together for thanks. I initially put it together just to cut through the bullshit and, give people some decent information that, was straight to the point without trying to sell them something, without trying to take money out of their pockets. So hopefully I've achieved that. I'm proud of what I've done over the last year, but it will be time to pull back on the podcast content so that I can start building out phase 2 of the business. So phase 2 of the business is going to be essentially consolidating all of the information that I've put out over the last year and putting it all together into somewhat of a template where people can then go onto my website, which I'm going to be building out. I'm going to be doing a lot of work on the front end over the next 6 months. Again, things that I'm not going to get paid for, but hopefully it pays off on the back end. So towards the end of this year, what I want to have is a website where people can go on, they can look for different training programs that are going to elicit different results. And, using all the podcast episodes, YouTube videos, all the information that I've basically put together over the years, these systems that I've built, I'm going to have a systemized approach to training that includes using metrics like waking heart rate, blood pressure, heart rate variability, which then determines what you should be doing with training, how you should be training for that day, what you should be doing regarding nutrition, what you should be doing regarding stress management, recovery mechanisms, etc., etc. So it's going to be a holistic program that is essentially going to give people a template to guide them through to be able to put in place a very structured day that's going to allow them to be at their absolute best day in, day out, week in, week out. So that is a plan over the next 6 months or so. If there's anything you guys would like to hear about on the podcast, I will keep putting out episodes every Monday. I'll have one episode per week. If there's anything specific that you guys want to hear, please make sure you reach out, let me know. before I close out, I just want to go through some of the episodes that I've put out over the last year. So I was thinking about putting together some best of episodes. However, after looking back over the last 110-ish episodes, it's very difficult to choose some of my favorites. So what I will say is each one of the series, the interviews, the client corner, the coach's corner, 5-minute fitness tips, Q&A sessions, mini series, etc. Every single one of those brought a lot of value to me, my life, my personal and professional growth and development. I do like the initial 2-week launch series. Some of that content is really good content. You can tell I'm a little bit nervous. Don't quite have my mic technique down pat. My flow's probably not as smooth as it has been in more recent episodes. However, in saying that, the first 2-week launch series was the first 14 episodes, and that was all about consolidating the information that I've been able to gather through courses, through working with other coaches, having mentors, reading books, listening to podcasts, actually working with clients, and systemizing a way to get good quality information across to people that's actually going to change their life. It's not just about training programs, not just about nutrition. It's looking at the psychological and behavioral components that actually creates long-lasting change. So that's the first 2 weeks. And I really enjoyed putting those episodes together because it was kind of like a rehash of everything that I've learned over the years. And taken what's been appropriate and discarded the things that was just bullshit, in my opinion, and then put my own spin on it. So the next series was the Nutritional Pyramid of Importance, which was a systematic way of looking at all things nutrition. And I still get questions about nutrition to this day. What's the best diet? How should I be eating when I'm training like this? Blah, 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 blah. And my answer is it always depends. So the Nutritional Pyramid of Importance was a 7-part mini-series to allow people to have a look at what is actually the most important thing when it comes to nutrition. Now, energy balance is a big one. If we're not getting enough energy in, then our body's literally going to be in fucking survival mode. So that's a big one that I see is quite prevalent with professional fighters and general population clients, especially people trying to lose weight. They put themselves into calorie deficits for extended periods of time. They cause this metabolic adaptation, which is a normal process that our body goes through. But it's not a good place to be for long periods of time. All right. Then we went through macronutrients, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, fiber, alcohol, the effect of water, what that does in the body. Then I went through micronutrients, and all of the many processes that micronutrients service behind the scenes. Then I went through different diets, calorie cycling, carb cycling, intermittent fasting, meal timing, meal frequency, etc., and then finish that off with supplements. So 7-part mini-series, 3.5 hours of content, going through the fundamentals of nutrition. So if you got any questions on nutrition, go and have a listen to that. And then, if people want to work with me, online coaching, etc., then, the more information they have around the fundamentals, the more specific my recommendations are going to be when we do get on those coaching calls. Then I went through the Swiss 8 mini-series. Now, I really enjoyed putting together the Swiss 8 mini-series. I am an ambassador for Swiss 8, which is a proactive mental health program designed initially by veterans, for veterans, after Adrian, the founder, one of his mates took his own life, and that happened, unfortunately, a number of times. So Adrian put together an app to allow people to structure in their 8 pillars of health and wellness, which is sleep, nutrition, time management, discipline, fitness, personal growth, mindfulness, and minimalism. So I started that 10-part mini-series with an interview with Adrian talking about why Swiss 8 was created, how he came up with the concept, and what they're doing now. Then I went through and recorded around about a 45 to 50-minute episode on each one of those principles, how to optimize them, get the most out of them, how to structure them into your day. And then I rounded out the 10-part mini-series with a chat with my man, Tristan Rose of Blind Tiger Yoga, who ran the yoga course that I went back to Australia to do February last year, and we went back to do that course in Byron Bay because Tristan had actually dealt with his own demons, PTSD, anxiety, depression, and used yin-style yoga as an alternate means of therapy rather than going down the medicinal the pharmaceutical route. He used yin-style yoga to allow him to manage his mind and get back to being his best. So a bunch of veterans went back to Byron Bay, did that course so we could then take those principles back to our network and start sharing them with our mates that, unfortunately, it is a big problem in the veteran community in Australia and most militaries around the world, to be fair, with, guys falling into pits of depression, anxiety, PTSD. So had a really good conversation with Tristan, and he spoke about his demons, the tools that he's used to, manage his mind and get him back to a good place. I've also gone through a heap of reflections episodes where I just look back at certain things in my life, something piques my interest, kicks off a spark in my mind that I think it's important to talk about, certain principles, certain, things in my life, crossroads and things like that, the lessons I've learned there. So I've done some reflections episodes. I've interviewed a number of people. I've had some incredible guests on the podcast from, ex-serving military guys, heavy hitters, commandos, snipers, highly awarded, highly commended, guys that are former soldiers that are now working overseas in private security. I've had nutrition experts on. I've had so many different people from so many different backgrounds of life, multiple entrepreneurs that talk about the lessons that they've learned in their life, how they've, built this mindset to be able to essentially push forward and continue building the life that they want without falling prey to the naysayers and the fucking haters. So had some incredible conversations. So I really want to throw a shout out to everyone that's been on the podcast and shared their journey and their lessons learned. Coach's Corner episodes have been really eye-opening for me, talking to and also for people listening. I've had numerous messages where people have been listening to the Coach's Corner episodes and gone, man, like, it's really cool to hear two coaches talking about, the different considerations with what you're looking at when it comes to working with people. And again, it's not just about, the training program, nutrition plan. There's so many other things that come into play. And for the most part, when someone asks me a question or someone asks a good coach a question, you'll typically hear the answer, it depends. Then I've also gone through the Client Corner. Damien Gilbert was an intern for me at Tiger a number of years ago. He's now working over in the Middle East, private security contractor, US Army veteran, blown up in Iraq, dealt with his own PTSD injuries, both mental and physical, etc. Had a great conversation with him. It's supposed to be 30-40 minutes where I was talking to him. I'd spoken to him for about 30 minutes offline, and, his dad just passed away. He'd flown from Afghanistan back to the US, buried his father, unfortunately, and then flew back into Afghanistan. Whilst he was in quarantine, I had a conversation with him on the phone, and he talked about the different principles that I've taught him over the years through our online coaching. And I was like, man, this is fucking incredible stuff. It's all well and good for me to sit here and, tell people what they should be doing, or have Coach's Corner episodes where I'm talking with other coaches about these different tools. But, having someone that's been on the other end, that's been applying these principles, tweaking, refining, adjusting these principles to suit whatever circumstances are happening in their life. It was a really powerful conversation that ended up going for about 2.5 hours. So, I broke that up over 4 parts. Then I've done my Q&A sessions, which I've also really enjoyed. So thank you everyone who sent me some questions to be answered on the podcast. That really helped me, create some good quality content around typical questions. A lot of the questions that do come in are frequently asked questions, so it is good to hear this stuff, but also put together some content to allow people to, I guess, figure out a path, figure out a journey, get some answers for themselves to then be able to put one foot in front of the other moving forward. And then I've done my 5-minute fitness tips as well, which have been quite popular. So yeah, that's a quick roundup of the last year of podcasting. Again, I'm going to be pulling back to 1 episode a week for probably the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, however long it takes me to build out phase 2 of the business. So once I've got that squared away, then I'll probably start making these podcast episodes a little bit more relevant and specific to what's coming in from my listeners. So yeah, thank you guys very much. Really appreciate the support, the feedback, the shares, the likes, subscribes, everything. You guys fucking rock. Much love, guys. Peace.